Have you ever been watching a movie or a TV show and you hear a phrase, you understand it perfectly, but you could never say it yourself in a real conversation?
Oh, absolutely, Mia. Happens all the time. You watch the characters talking and they use these cool natural expressions and you think, I should use that. But when you open your mouth, the grammar police arrive.
Exactly. That hesitation, that moment where you stop because you were worried about the verb tense or the preposition, it blocks everything.
It absolutely blocks everything. Hi, everyone. I'm Mia.
And I'm Leo.
Welcome back to the English Blend. We're here to help you speak English naturally.
Today we're diving into a fun topic. Common expressions from pop culture, and how using these ready-made phrases can actually turbocharge your fluency. We call them chunks.
Because fluency is communication, not perfection, right? We want to help you get your point across without freezing up. So, Leah, let's start with a really important distinction for our A2 to B2 learners. We need to define fluency versus accuracy. What's the difference, simply put?
Simply put, accuracy is about correctness. It's about having perfect grammar, using the right verb tense, and spelling everything correctly. It's what you often focus on in school.
And fluency,
Fluency is about communication and flow. It means you can keep the conversation going even if you make small mistakes. The goal is that the other person understands your meaning.
That's key. Imagine you're at a cafe, right? You want a large coffee with almond milk. If you say, "Me want big coffee almond milk, please," is that accurate? No, the grammar is messy.
Not at all accurate, but do you get your coffee? Yes, the barista understands your point. You achieved communication, so that's fluent, even if it's imperfect.
That's successful communication. Now, let's say you spend 5 minutes trying to construct the perfect sentence. "Excuse me, I would like to purchase a generously sized beverage which contains an infusion of coffee and steam, supplemented by a substitute dairy product derived from almonds."
Laughs. By the time you say that, the cafe is closed, and you probably lost the attention of the person you were talking to. That's accuracy slowing down fluency.
So our core message today is fluency is the ability to maintain communication. Small mistakes are totally fine. It's not the end of the world if you mess up the past tense once in a while.
Absolutely not the end of the world. And this brings us back to pop culture expressions. Why do learners struggle to use these phrases even when they know them?
Because they try to analyze the phrase's grammar before they use it. They treat every sentence like a new puzzle they have to solve from scratch.
They are trying to build the engine every time they want to drive the car.
Perfect analogy. And that leads us into why grammar often blocks fluency for intermediate learners.
When you are an A2 or B1 learner, you've learned enough rules to know when you might be breaking them. This causes massive anxiety.
You start a sentence, then midway through you think, wait, should I use the present perfect continuous here, or was it simple past? And boom, you stop.
That stoppage, that self-correction in real time, is the enemy of flow. You hit a wall.
We need to teach ourselves to see language differently. We need to see language not as individual bricks, words and grammar rules, but as prefabricated walls. We call these chunks. Practical tip.
And pop culture is full of amazing chunks. Think about famous movie lines. You don't analyze the grammar of the line, "I'll be back," right? You just know what it means and when to use it. That's a chunk.
Exactly. Or from a common sitcom, the phrase, "How you doin'?" If you analyze the grammar, you'd say, that's wrong. It should be, "How are you doing?"
But if you say, "How you doing?" in the right context, everyone understands the tone and the meaning instantly. It's efficient communication. You get your point across immediately. Language focus.
Let's discuss some common phrases we hear everywhere, especially online or in movies. These are great chunks. Practical tip.
How about winter is coming? It's a simple warning, often used in casual settings now, meaning be prepared for future difficulty.
Yes. You could use it at work. If your boss says, "We have a deadline next month," you could joke, "Winter's coming. Better start preparing those reports now."
You didn't construct that sentence. You just remembered the chunk. It helped you sound natural and added a bit of humor.
Another great one is, "May the force be with you." What does it mean now in everyday conversation?
It means good luck or I wish you success. It's a cultural shorthand.
A friend was taking a very tough English exam, a final big speaking test. As she walked into the room, I couldn't think of a complicated motivational speech. I just leaned in and whispered, "May the force be with you."
Perfect use. It's friendly, it's quick, and it got your point across perfectly. You didn't have to worry about if you should say, "I hope you have fortune," or "I wish you well." You used a ready-made expression.
These chunks are emotionally charged and culturally loaded, making them much easier to remember than just random vocabulary. You remember where you heard it.
Let's look at another category, the phrases used when something goes wrong. This is where we often freeze up because we are stressed.
Like the classic line, "Houston, we have a problem."
It doesn't mean you are literally talking to NASA. It means there is an unexpected and serious complication here, usually said with a bit of urgency or humor.
Imagine you were trying to submit a document online and the website crashes. You turn to your friend and say, "Houston, we have a problem."
They know instantly that you hit a wall in your task. That is so much more natural than saying, "The website has malfunctioned and I cannot proceed with the upload."
And if the situation is frustrating but ultimately manageable, we go back to our core message. It's not the end of the world.
This phrase is everywhere, from dramatic TV shows to commercials. It's a perfect chunk for reassurance.
Say you make a small error on a presentation at work. Instead of panicking, you can tell yourself or your colleague, "Okay, I missed a slide, but hey, it's not the end of the world. We can fix it next time." It quickly diffuses the stress.
Okay, so we know these pop culture phrases are valuable chunks. How do our learners actually start using them and stop letting grammar fear make them hit a wall? We have 3 to 5 practical steps.
The first tip is simple but powerful: massive listening and observation.
You need to consume content constantly. Watch those movies, YouTube videos, and podcasts, but listen actively. Don't just listen for individual words, listen for phrases.
When you hear a phrase like, "You got this," or "What's up?" write the whole phrase down. Don't just look up the definition of got or up. Record the chunk as one unit.
This is how native speakers learn. We don't learn what's, then up, then decide to put them together. We learn the chunk, what's up.
Tip 2. Practice the 3-second rule. This is crucial for overcoming that grammar block.
The 3-second rule is tough, but effective. When someone asks you a question, you have only 3 seconds to respond before you start overthinking the grammar.
If you can't formulate the perfect sentence in 3 seconds, you must just say what you can. Even if it's just one of those pop culture chunks like, "That's amazing," or "I feel you."
It forces you to prioritize flow over perfection. If you stop for 5 seconds, the conversation is dead. If you say an imperfect sentence quickly, the conversation lives. You get your point across.
Let's illustrate this. You are studying with a friend. They ask, "Did you finish the assignment yet?" Bad scenario, overthinking. You stop, think, should I say I have completed it or I finished it 2 hours ago? Good scenario, 3 seconds rule. In under 3 seconds, you blurt out the chunk. "I'm on it," or "almost there."
The second response is far more fluent. You used a short, ready-made phrase.
Tip 3. Contextual chunking and mimicry. When you learn a pop culture phrase, you must also learn the exact emotional context and tone where it's used.
If you hear a character on a show shout, "Run, Forrest, run!" you know that phrase is used to encourage someone to hurry up, usually in a lighthearted way.
Practice saying it with the emotion, the stress, and the speed of the original speaker. Mimicry is your friend here. Don't just read the words. Try to sound like the person who said it in the movie.
This bypasses the analytical grammar part of your brain. You are treating the sentence like a piece of music, not a math problem. You are memorizing the melody.
Let's consider a professional scenario. If your colleague is struggling to open a complex spreadsheet and they keep failing, you want to gently encourage them.
You could use a phrase like, try again, fail better. This encourages persistence.
That sounds intelligent and natural, even though you just pulled a phrase from culture. You didn't have to construct a complicated motivational speech. You got your point across easily.
And if they still can't open it, you reassure them. Hey, it's not the end of the world. We can ask IT tomorrow.
It all links back to using language to manage social situations smoothly. Fluency isn't about being perfect, it's about being effective.
We introduced 3 crucial language-focused phrases. Let's spend some time defining and giving multiple examples so our listeners know exactly how to use them. First, get your point across. This is our main goal, right? What does it mean?
It means to successfully communicate your message or idea to someone else. It emphasizes success in transmission rather than correctness in grammar.
Example 1. Study. I wrote a long essay, and my teacher said the grammar was sometimes shaky, but she added, "You still got your point across clearly." This means the message was strong.
Example 2. Work. During the meeting, I used simple English because I was nervous, but I spoke loudly and the team understood my suggestion. I successfully got my point across.
So, if you feel anxious about making a grammar error, remember that as long as the listener understands the core idea, you got your point across. Mission accomplished.
Next up, hit a wall. This is a great idiom for any learner.
When you hit a wall, it means you reach a point where you cannot make any further progress. You stop completely, often due to frustration or difficulty.
Example 1. Learning. I was studying vocabulary for 2 hours straight, and then I suddenly couldn't remember the meaning of the simplest words. I realized I had hit a wall and needed a break.
Example 2. Project. The design team was working hard, but they couldn't figure out the logo. They finally admitted they had hit a wall and needed some external help.
So, if you are speaking English and you suddenly freeze or can't think of the right word, you can tell your conversation partner, "Sorry, I just hit a wall there for a second." It's a natural, fluent way to acknowledge your temporary stop.
It shows you are fluent enough to describe your lack of fluency. That's meta-fluency.
Finally, our famous phrase, "not the end of the world."
This is used to minimize the importance of a problem or mistake. It helps keep perspective. It's a huge psychological boost for learners.
Example 1. Daily life. I missed the bus this morning and I'm going to be 10 minutes late for class. Oh well, it's not the end of the world. I'll catch the next one.
Example 2. Studying. I failed the practice quiz for the 2nd time. I feel upset, but my study buddy said, "It's not the end of the world. Now we know which area we need to study more intensely."
Using this phrase helps you move past mistakes quickly. That ability to recover fast is a major component of fluency. If you dwell on every error, you'll never speak quickly.
And remember, many pop culture phrases, like the ones we discussed, "I'll be back," "Winter is coming," they embody this idea. They are quick, efficient, and they allow you to convey complex meaning without complex grammar. They're your fluency shortcuts.
Let's expand on the scenario examples to reinforce these ideas. Think about negotiating a simple transaction.
Say I am trying to return something I bought, but I don't have the receipt. I'm nervous about the exact vocabulary for refund policy.
Instead of freezing, you prioritize the goal. Get your point across. You might use a simple sentence like, "I bought this, but I want my money back," okay? The grammar might be basic, but the person knows exactly what you mean.
And if the store clerk says, "No receipt, no return," and I feel frustrated, I might just sigh and say, "Houston, we have a problem," and then walk away. It shows emotion and natural understanding.
But you don't let that frustration derail your whole day. You remind yourself, it's not the end of the world. I can probably sell it online. See how these phrases are mental and verbal tools?
Absolutely. They function as emotional stabilizers and communication boosters. We're using language not just to transmit facts, but to transmit feeling and intent.
And this is why massive listening is so vital. When you hear a phrase used many times in different movies, you start internalizing the emotional weight.
Think about the power of the phrase live long and prosper. It's a specific, recognizable way to offer a blessing or farewell.
If you use that phrase instead of just saying bye, you're showing cultural competence and adding personality to your English. It makes you sound less like a textbook and more like a real person.
Which is the ultimate goal of the English blend. We want you to sound natural.
Let's review those tips one more time as they are central to avoiding the grammar block.
Tip 1. Massive listening and chunking. Stop seeing words, start seeing phrases. Write down the full pop culture expression.
Tip 2. Practice the 3-second rule. Prioritize speed and communication flow over grammatical perfection. Say something fast, even if it's simple.
Tip 3. Contextual mimicry. Learn the tone and situation where the phrase is used. Use those expressions, and don't worry about the grammar of the expression itself. It's a pre-built house.
When you master these chunks, you will find you rarely hit a wall because you have ready responses for almost any situation. You are arming yourself with quick tools.
And remember, even if you misuse a phrase slightly, as long as you get your point across, the conversation continues. And that continued practice is how you improve.
We know that fear of mistakes is real, but if you make a mistake, honestly, it's not the end of the world. Laugh, correct yourself later, and keep speaking.
Imagine the language learning journey as navigating a river. The accuracy learner wants to perfectly map every bend and rock before moving. The fluency learner just wants to get across the river. They might bump the boat a few times, but they keep paddling, using the strongest currents to quickly reach the other side.
Great analogy, Leo. We want you paddling, not planning.
That was a fantastic deep dive into using pop culture expressions as fluency shortcuts.
We covered the difference between accuracy and fluency. Remember, fluency is communication, not perfection.
We learned that constantly analyzing grammar causes us to hit a wall and stops us from speaking naturally.
Our solution? Use chunks. Phrases like, winter is coming, I'll be back, or Houston, we have a problem.
And by applying our 3 tips, massive listening, the 3-second rule, and contextual mimicry, you can integrate these phrases effortlessly.
Focus on successfully communicating your idea, making sure you get your point across, and remember that mistakes happen, but it's not the end of the world.
Take one new pop culture phrase this week and try to use it 3 times in real life or even while talking to yourself. Practice makes permanent.
We love hearing how you use these phrases, so let us know in the comments below which pop culture chunk is your favorite.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the English Blend.
That was a great talk. Yes, see you in the next episode of The English Blend.